All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Jason Salas still here, and my good friend Dr. Steve Bignardzik is on the program, on the couch right now. And when Steve is here, that means two things. We're talking about amazing music and events going around the island, getting people involved in the love, the culture, the practice of music, and that means that our ratings are going to go sky high because Steve always has cool things to talk about. So, Steve, welcome back as always.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for having me.
First time of the new year.
Yes, Happy New Year to you.
And hopefully one of many because you're doing so many great things on the island, including working with young musicians, as I understand it this time.
That's right. One of the things that's been going on for many, many seasons is the annual Young Artist Competition. And it's always held around the 3rd or 4th week of January. When I first moved to the island, the first time I went to it, there might be 5 or 6 kids kind of auditioning for I don't know what, and they got a certificate or something. So we've elevated that quite a bit. And now this time we have 24 participants. It varies between 20, in the mid-20s to 30 participants. And it's now a legitimate competition. So we have 3 categories: elementary, junior, and senior. And we have competitors in each category, piano players, violinists, flute players, saxophone players. And they compete against each other. And we have 4 judges for the competition. And what happens is it's a 2-night competition. On Wednesday, it's closed. So it's just the judges and the performers. And we give them 5 minutes, so we get to hear them.
Do they get to pick the piece that they will be presenting?
Oh, yes. They've been working on this piece for months.
Okay.
And so it's all classical music. And so the first night, it's kind of a screening process. And then the second night, it's open to the public. And parents and teachers can come in and watch them compete, and we pick the best in each category, and they compete for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in each of the categories.
This is quite the musical crucible, as it were.
Yeah, well, there are competitions all around the world. There are 2 big competitions here. There's the one here, and there's also the Tuman Bay Music Festival. They have a competition in March. So ours is run a little differently than theirs, but it's a really unique opportunity for the kids to kind of get out there and test their ability against other students and get to hear them, other people play too.
I've always wanted to ask you, sorry, we'll pick that up in just a sec, but for young people, because you have said it many, many times, and you've enlightened so many of us on this program to the fact that everyone has music in them.
Oh, yes.
Everyone can appreciate it, everyone can do it. This isn't just, you don't have to be born some virtuoso or touched by the hand of God and say, you were meant to be a piano player. Especially when talking about young people, how do people actually find that within themselves, and how can they learn and channel that kind of thing?
Well, it comes from a variety of different sources. I mean, some people are naturally drawn to stuff. You hear so many things, and you're interested. You're surfing the web, and you hear music, and you think, oh, that's interesting. When I was a kid, my dad had a huge record collection. Those are the records. Yeah. And
there was no .mp3 at the end of those, kids.
And I remember going through them as a kid and finding music that really I liked a lot, and I wanted to learn more about. And then some kids, when you're in 5th and 6th grade, you get a chance to join a band program or a choir program or an orchestra. And that's another way where people kind of get into it. And it varies for different people. And I think what I always thought is around 9th, 10th, 11th grade, if you're a musician and you're practicing and you decide to practice instead of go to your senior prom or your dance or something like that, then that's kind of the shift where people always start to think, maybe I'm going to become a musician.
Eddie Van Halen famously would lock himself in his room for 6 hours a night.
Yeah. And
his older brother Alex, the drummer, would go out and party and everything like that. He'd come home, Eddie would still be riffing.
And you begin to have a relationship with your instrument or however you're doing music, if you're singing and stuff like that. And it just becomes something that starts to take over your life and become more and more important. You want to practice instead of going out and hanging out with friends and doing other things. So.
Because it truly is a labor of love, and it's never like work.
Well, yes and no. I mean, anytime you do anything for a living, it becomes different, yes? So.
I've had this gig for 20 years, and it's always fun.
Yeah,
because I get to talk to people like you, just sharing the love of music.
So when I was a clarinet player when I was in high school, and I went to a summer music camp, and the professional orchestra at the camp would rehearse at 10 a.m. and then give a concert in the evening. And I thought, that's nice. I want to do that for a living. So it's kind of you begin to see how music works and stuff, and then it's very rewarding. So these kids are just starting out in the musical world, and after this competition. Which is on the 23rd, tomorrow night, Wednesday and Thursday. On February 10th at the Hyatt, 3 p.m., there's the Young Artist Awards Concert. So these kids get to give a nice performance. They'll receive their certificate, and they get a small cash prize for their division and how they place. And so that's another way we kind of elevate the whole competition.
Is it all of the winners performing in one big ensemble, or do they all go sequentially?
So these are all solo pieces, a piano concerto, a sonata.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. So they all get some very well-deserved time in the spotlight for their work.
And it's really nice because the competition itself is at UOG, And that's nice, but to put it at a nice hotel and have the elegance in the afternoon, it's very nice for the kids.
Okay, real quick before we go to commercial break, you said with the closed judging, what criteria do you use? Obviously, like accuracy, clarity.
Yeah, exactly. We have a judge's form, and we have numbers 1 through 10 we put down for everything. So there's phrasing, technique, tone, stage presence, accuracy, things of that nature.
Okay.
So yeah.
This is going to be fantastic to put on Facebook Live, and I cannot wait to do that for you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we will see you there, Steve.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time, which is probably going to be like in 2 weeks when you're doing some other amazing event.
I think so.